Chapter 2, Section 2.2, we're going to perform conversions using a process known as dimensional analysis. So this video is specifically to explain how to do the process of dimensional analysis. So we're going to use our first example. So we are given 2.5 weeks and asked to find the number of minutes. Realize that 2.5 weeks is going to be known as our given because it actually gives us a quantity, and minutes is going to be what we're trying to find. So the process of dimensional analysis starts by taking your given, which in our case is 2.5 weeks, and literally putting it over the number 1. So I'm going to write 2.5 weeks, and I'm going to place this over 1. The second step is going to be to write times and draw a line. This starts my second step, or my next step of dimensional analysis. I want to take the unit from the first step, which in this case is weeks, and I want to bring the unit down to the second step. This allows my units to cancel each other because this essentially is weeks divided by weeks, which cancel and equal 1. I now want to use what's called a conversion factor. I'm going to go from weeks to something that I know is an equality, days, because I know that in 1 week there are 7 days. Times, draw a line, starts the third step, and I want to take the unit from my second step that's at the top, and I want to bring it down. So I'm going to take days and I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to now use a conversion factor from days to hours because I know that in 1 day there are 24 hours. Days will cancel because you have days divided by days. So now I'm going to start my next step. Hours is going to be brought down to this next step. And now I can actually go to minutes, from hours to minutes, because in 1 hour it equals 60 minutes. So notice what cancels. Weeks divided by weeks cancels. Day divided by day cancels. And hour divided by hours cancels. I'm left with minutes, which is going to be the final unit of my answer. This is considered the setup. And now we want to get our answer, which requires us to use a calculator. With our calculator, we're going to type in our first given, 2.5. Then in my second step, the number in the numerator is going to be multiplied. So times 7, and the number in the denominator will be divided. So divided by 1 times 7. And we don't actually type in divided by 1 because it doesn't change anything. In the third step, we have times 24 and divided by 1. And in the fourth step, we have times 60 divided by 1 equals. This gives us a number of 25,200, which is going to be the numeric value of our answer. 25,200. Minutes is our unit. And so this denotes our final answer. Remember, you have to have a unit for every answer. There should be no naked numbers. So be sure that you always have a unit present next to your value. Okay, let's try another example. Determine the number of years that's equivalent to 9.0 times 10 to the 7 seconds. So we're given 9.0 times 10 to the 7 seconds, and we're supposed to determine the number of years. So this is considered our given, and this is considered our question mark, what we don't know. So we're going to start off by taking our given, and we're going to put it over 1. So 9.0 times 10 to the 7 seconds, all over 1. Times, draw a line. We're going to bring seconds down to the next step, remember, so that they'll cancel. I know that there are 3,600 seconds in 1 hour. I'm still trying to get to years, so I'll go another step. Times, draw a line. I'm going to take hour, because remember, seconds has canceled. So I'm going to take hour now and bring it down to the bottom of the next step. And we're going to go from hours to days, because I know that there are 24 hours in 1 day. We're at days, still trying to get to years, so one more step. I'm going to take days, remember hours have canceled. So now we're going to take days and bring them down to the next step. And we know that there are 365 days in 1 year. And so now we've managed to get our unit to years, which is what we wanted. Again, days is going to cancel, and so we're left with year as our unit. So year is going to be the unit of our final answer. So now I'm going to calculate my final answer. We're going to input our first number, 9.0 times 10 to the 7, times 1, which we're going to ignore, divided by 3,600, times 1, divided by 24, times 1, divided by 365. In order to type this in, we're going to have to use our scientific calculator. There's a special way to input the 9.07 times 10 to the 7. So let's bring up what your calculator looks like. Your calculator may look like one of the following. And above the number 7, you'll find what's called an EE button. And if you look at the zoomed picture, here's that EE button. Here you're going to have to hit second and then this button in order to accomplish the EE. The calculator on the right, you don't have to hit shift or second, it's just the double E button above the 7. Consider that 9.0 times 10 to the 7th, if we use this EE button, we're going to type in 9.0, we're going to hit this button, which is going to give us an E, and then we're going to hit 7 for our exponent. Over here, to type in 9.0 times 10 to the 7, you're actually going to type 9.0, and when you hit the E button, you're going to get this little 0, 0, and then we're going to type in 7 in place of one of those zeros. So it's not going to actually give you an E or a times 10. Okay, so let's get back to our problem. So on my computer calculator, I'm going to type 9.0, and the button on this one is EXP instead of EE. Notice it gives me this E, and then I'm going to type my 7 here. And then we're going to hit divided by 3,600, divided by 24, divided by 365 equals. And I get 2.85. Notice how this 9.0 is only 2 numbers. So that's going to tell me to round this off to 2.9. And we'll talk about the rules for rounding later. So my answer is 2.9 years. Remember that you should have no naked numbers, have a unit for every single answer.